Hello everyone, welcome to the second part of the video series on head and neck pathology. In this session, I would like to discuss three important conditions. Number one is paraganglioma, also called as the carotid body tumor. Number two is the pleomorphic adenoma of the salivary gland, which is the most common benign tumor of the salivary gland. And the third one is actually called as Warthin's tumor. Okay, fine. But before that, let us go for some of the few one-liners which are mentioned in Robbins. And number one, remember branchial cyst. They are remnants of second branchial arch, usually located along the border of the sternocleidomastoid. Fine, okay, it is actually a cyst, also called as cervical lymphoepithelial cyst. At the same time, thyroglossal duct cyst. It occurs from the remnants of see actually the thyroglossal duct. Okay, it actually starts from the foramen cecum, which is located at the base of the tongue. This gives rise to the tongue and the various structures. And from there, this thyroglossal duct will continue till the level of T4 level of the trachea, and it can go bifurcation, and further that's how the thyroid glands are formed. Whenever there is a remnant, thyroglossal duct cyst is formed. Coming to paraganglioma, also called as carotid body tumor. They arises from neuroendocrine cells of the sympathetic and parasympathetic system. The most common paraganglioma is actually called as pheochromocytoma. And rest of the extra-adrenal paraganglioma, the most common site is the head and neck site. What is the pathogenesis? The main pathogenesis is there is a loss of function mutation of the gene which encode for SDH. What is SDH? Succinate dehydrogenase. As well as some of the genes which are involved in generating the cofactors of the mitochondrial oxidative phosphorylation pathways. There are two typical locations of paragangliomas. Number one, paravertebral paraganglia, and next is called the aorticopulmonary chain, which includes the carotid bodies and the aortic bodies, also called as glomus tympanum or glomus jugulare. The paravertebral paraganglia, we have some name called as organ of Zuckerkandl, and similar to other all neuroendocrine tumors, they also stain positively for chromaffin, which produces the cells, which detects the cells which produce the catecholamines. There is epinephrine and norepinephrine. And aorticopulmonary chain, we have the aortic and carotid bodies, and they are mainly located like clusters along the oral cavity, nasopharynx, oropharynx, orbit. Coming to the morphology, carotid body tumor is a typical parasympathetic paraganglioma. Okay, it's a parasympathetic paraganglioma. Even though it has a sympathetic component, it is mainly a parasympathetic paraganglioma. And the tumor tissue is red pink to brown in color. And we have something called as the cell balance nest. Cell balance nest is again a feature of pheochromocytoma, which are nothing else but the chief cells with the eosinophilic cytoplasm and uniform round to ovoid with nuclei with the delicate vascular septa. And remember, they all test positive for the neuroendocrine markers. What are the neuroendocrine markers? You have to always remember of CD56, CD57, chromogranin, synaptophysin, and neuron-specific enolase. And remember, some cells like sustentacular cells or the supporting cells of this tumor are also stain positive for S100. S100 is positive for malignant melanoma also. So they are slow-growing, painless masses. They are usually associated with MEN2 syndrome. What is MEN2 syndrome? Also called as Sippel syndrome. Okay, there is multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2, because in MEN2 syndrome we have the pheochromocytoma. Along with pheochromocytoma, we have this gene also. Remember, succinate dehydrogenase B mutation is associated with the worst prognosis because of very high rates of metastasis. Once this is done, let us go for the most common salivary gland neoplasm, that is actually called as pleomorphic adenoma. So remember, they are the most common tumors of the parotid salivary gland, then followed by submandibular and minor salivary glands. Why it is called pleomorphic? Why? Because it has a mixture of ductal component, myoepithelial component, and a mesenchymal component. That is why they are also called as the mixed tumors. And here a very, very important update that is mentioned in the recent edition of Robbins is that there is an overexpression of PLAG1. Okay, there is an overexpression of PLAG1 and there is a mutation of HMGA2 gene. Out of this, you have to remember a very important point, that is there is an overexpression of PLAG1. PLAG1 gene mutation is in case of pleomorphic adenoma. Grossly, what we can see? You can see rounded, well demarcated masses. Okay, they are encapsulated, and cut surface is grey white with myxoid and blue areas. That blue areas is because of the cartilage. And the dominant histological factors is we have some epithelial components, we have some myxoid and hyaline tissue components, okay, and we have some myoepithelial component. That is why it is called as the mixed tumors. They may be either well differentiated, okay. There are islands of well differentiated squamous epithelium may be also be present. Fine, okay. So remember the classification of what salivary gland tumors. The pleomorphic adenoma is the mixed tumors, and the malignant component is the mucoepidermoid carcinoma. Then the Warthin tumors is there, oncocytoma is there. Okay, these are the oncocytoma. Okay, these are the three important tumors you have to remember of. Fine. And pleomorphic adenomas, they usually present as a painless, slow-growing, mobile, discrete mass within the parotid or submandibular areas or in the buccal cavity. Fine. Okay. So this is, you can see the characteristic location of the parotid gland, and in gross picture you can see the yellow white tumor. Okay, yellow white tumor. Next is called as papillary cystadenoma lymphomatosum, also called as the famous Warthin's tumor, which is the second most common salivary gland neoplasms. Remember, they are benign and they occur, more commonly in males than females. Remember, in pleomorphic adenomas, there is no such sex predilection, whereas in case of Warthin's tumor, always you have to remember a male. Okay, male is more common than female. Okay, and usually in the 5th or 6th, 7th day course of life, when there is an increased risk in smokers. And remember, they are bilateral tumors. Rest of the tumors are unilateral tumors. The only salivary gland tumor which has bilateral predilection is always called as the Warthin's tumor. They are again oval encapsulated masses. They are readily palpable within the superficial parotid gland. Transection shows a pale grey surface, narrow cystic or cleft-like spaces with mucinous or serous secretion. And on microscopy, you can see something called as lymphoepithelial proliferation. Okay, you can see the lymphoepithelial proliferation. This is the pleomorphic adenomas. You can see epithelial, myoepithelial, and a myxoid matrix. Okay, that is why it is called as a mixed tumor. This is the Warthin's tumor. You can see the lymphoid follicular germinal centers are present, and you can see a double layer of oncocytic epithelial cells. What do you mean by oncocyte? Oncocyte means a swollen cell which actually have large number of mitochondria. Okay, numerous mitochondria. That is responsible for the eosinophilic appearance to the cytoplasm. There is a prominent nucleoli also. Okay, fine. Yes. So remember, males are common than females, and it is one of the salivary gland tumor with the bilaterality. Okay, bilaterality. It usually presents bilaterally. Fine. Yeah. And the most common malignant tumor of the salivary gland, which represents about 15% of all salivary gland tumor, or the most common malignant tumor of the parotid gland, if they ask you, answer is mucoepidermoid carcinoma. What is the most common benign tumor of the parotid gland? It is pleomorphic adenoma. Okay, what is the gene mutation? Overexpression of PLAG1, and another one important gene I have told. No, what is that? Yes, mutation of the HMGA2 gene. Okay, PLAG1 you have to remember. PLAG1 you have to remember. And you can, in mucoepidermoid carcinoma, you can see a balanced translocation of 11-19. Okay, yes. Yeah. So with that, we have come to the end of the chapter head and neck pathology. Okay, I have highlighted all important points that you have to remember for your exam. So hope you would have enjoyed this session. Thank you.